This video is just to get us ready for our super fun discovery project of graphing sine and cosine. So before we get to graphing trig, let's talk about graphing functions. When we graph a function is used to represent the relationship between our x and y values. So when we're graphing our function, we have an input, which is our x values, and an output, which is our y values. On this graph, this distance represents the y value at 0.05 for this function. This distance would represent the y value at 1, which would be about 6. So we're going to use that when we start talking about our project tomorrow, but just some definitions that you should have down. A sinusoid function can be written in the form of f of x is equal to a times sine of b times x minus c plus d, where a, b, c, and d are constants and neither a nor b are 0. Then we have the amplitude, which is the absolute value of a. So if we have f of x is equal to a times sine of b times x minus c plus d, or cosine, a is our amplitude. Graphically, our amplitude is half of our height of the wave. So if we have a wave, so from our max to our min, the distance of half of it would be our amplitude. Period is found by 2 pi over the absolute value of b, and graphically it is 1 full cycle. Frequency is the number of times you complete the cycles, number of completed cycles in a unit interval. So we find that by the absolute value of b divided by 2 pi. And what do we want to look at? We have our two functions. We have f of x is equal to a times sine b times sine of b times x minus c plus d, or the cosine function. If we had no transformation, so our transformations come from a, b, c, and d. If we had no transformation functions, then we would have our parent functions. Y is equal to sine of x and y is equal to cosine of x. This is what we will be graphing this week, where x is our angle that we're taking the sine of, and y is the value of the trig function, so either the sine of that angle or the cosine of that angle. What I need you to think about is what is our input and our output, as well as what would we label our x and y axis for graphing the sine and cosine functions. And that's all.